Hello and welcome to the Merlin Log Podcast. I'm Merle.
And I'm Locke.
Set sail and low expectations for everything nerd, accompanied by a healthy, albeit shapeful, hoping to pointless banter, lack of focus, and quest for acquired knowledge.
And more.
And more. Today we're talking about a game that's actually been out for a while, so it's I guess it's kind of old news, but we just started getting right back into it. It's HELLDIVERS 2. I started playing this game when it first came out. I started playing with a few buddies. This game, complete chaos. It was absolute madness, but it was so fun. It was action the entirety of the time. So what HELLDIVERS is, they have this civilization called Super Earth. You're going out amongst other planets and we're expanding. The human race is expanding. Popping off, yeah? But naturally, we have enemies within the universe that want to eliminate us. So we have these automatons, this race of robots on one side of us, and on the other side we have these creatures called terminids, where just like all these insect creatures, which makes it reminiscent of Starship Troopers in a sense. We're fighting both of those, and we have to go on missions to different planets, and the map is always evolving. It's always saying like all these planets in this solar system and this specific planet here, it's having some troubles with this race of creatures, whether it be automatons or terminids, and we have to go and defend that planet. Now, the entirety of the HELLDIVERS 2 community participates in this defense of each planet. So there's like this big call to action right when you get in there to start choosing your mission, and it's saying like what race is encroaching on what planets. And it also states like how many HELLDIVERS in the community are already there trying to fight off these forces. And so we don't actually play with the rest of the community. It's just saying like how many's actually working on it.
Yeah, you're participating in a community event.
Right, exactly. There's a good word for it. A community event of the defense of whatever planet. So you go into like up to 4 people can play together at one time. You could drop in on other people already playing, like complete strangers. You could drop in on their missions if they don't have like a privacy thing set up. And you could help them out in accomplishing these missions. Or you could just, group up with your friends and you can pursue missions with up to 4 people. And there's different difficulty settings, and each difficulty has its own string of missions in which you can pursue or try to accomplish. You drop down in like drop pods, which makes it reminiscent of Halo ODST, where you're like kind of an ODST trooper and you're dropping into a planet, into a location, and within a certain boundary of this location, you have to complete these objectives. The entirety of the time, you're just being absolutely swarmed by enemies, right? And they have like these different stations that you can go to where there's like, for the automatons, there's these manufacturing plants where they're manufacturing more automatons, and it just keeps spawning more and more and more. And you have to take out the building that's producing all these automatons. And terminids, naturally, they're all bugs, so it's a nest, right? And you have to take out these bug nests and close up the holes, or else it will just keep spawning more creatures. And with each level of difficulty that you choose for the missions, it both gives you harder enemies in the first place and more enemies in which to combat. Where, like, if you go super difficult on the terminids, you start having to fight things like bile titans and chargers, or all these different like spewing things that will just absolutely decimate you. Where you need to bring out the big guns for these guys.
I was gonna say the bile titans kind of remind me of you remember the bad guy off of Wild Wild West, where he had that giant spider looking thing in the desert?
Yeah.
That's like a bile titan, but more bug like, and spews toxic shit at you. So more terrifying.
It is pretty terrifying. And on the automaton side, you have to fight things like big tanks and stuff will come out and go after you, or these dreadnoughts will come pepper you with bullets.
I seen the tank, but I never actually turned around to look at it. I just kept running. I just seen it spawn out of thin air, and I go, "What the fuck is that?" And I turned around and I go, "No time to find out."
Oh man, it is constant chaos, and it's so much fun. It's so exciting the whole way through. We also have, as far as weapons go and ways to combat these threats, right? You have a big slew of different weapons that you can unlock, spend these medals, and you can get these war bonds that allow you to unlock customization options or different guns and different emotes there. And then you have these things called stratagems. Stratagems are things you can access during the mission. You have to pull up your little wrist computer and you got to type in a code real quick. They all have different codes that you can type in. You have to be pretty nimble with your fingers to type in those codes as fast as you can to get the little Pokeball.
And I found out that in a severe panic against a Vile Titan, I cannot type it. Like, the closer it is, I cannot do it.
Yeah.
That's why that one time I nuked myself, because I had no idea. Like, I was like, screw it, we're both going down. Yeah.
Just in those moments of desperation. No, I completely understand that. And you type in this code, then you throw your little Pokeball, and it puts up this big beam of light, and it drops whatever stratagem that you were calling out. So your stratagem can be a weapon of some kind, like a weapon that you can carry, or they have stratagems for big attacks from the ships that are going around the planet. They'll shoot down nukes, big lasers, or cannons of some kind. It's big explosions all the time, and it's absolutely wonderful to watch it from a distance. Not so wonderful up close. It gets a little violent, and you want to get away as fast as you can. But as far as first impressions, Locke here just started playing with us, and I want to get your opinions thus far of this game.
Other than the $40 that hurts the wallet a bit, you guys made me
understandable.
You guys made me make poor financial decisions and buy this game. But I've been enjoying it. I've been wanting to level up and get some of the cool things that you guys have, like as far as the big 500 kg nuke bomb or whatever. Is that all I got that's powerful and really scary once I went out and used it was that 380 Mike. Just like big explosions happening all over the place.
That 380 Mike has gotten us all in a lot of trouble many of times. You throw your little Pokeball there and the beam of light comes up, but it doesn't strike exactly there. And it's a whole series of different explosions coming down, but it's in a widespread area, so you're never quite certain where it's going to hit, and it lasts for a while.
I noticed.
It's killed many of friendlies.
But the first time I used it, none of you died. All I did was throw it out, and I said, "Get out of there." You guys seen the light, and you go, "Yep, no questions asked, we're out."
Yeah, that's always funny. I remember, I think it was yesterday we were playing. Me and you were together. There's a nest. And I went in, because I didn't have any stratagems to call in, so I went in to the nest area just to close up all the nests with grenades. I was just tossing grenades into the holes. And then right beside me, something drops, and then a big beam of light comes out of it. I was like, did you just call a stratagem on top of me? And you're like, run. So I just start darting out of there, trying to avoid. I didn't die, thankfully, but it was close. It was a close call. And throwing stratagems right on top of your friends, I think it's frowned upon.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing that you at least listened. You didn't turn around and start asking questions as to why I threw it. You went, all right, I'm out of there.
Yeah, it's too funny, and it's way too easy to kill your buddies. It's hilarious every time. I remember I killed one of our buddies.
Oh, I mean, which one? Because you've killed many of us.
Well, okay, so I admittedly, yes, I've killed many of friends, unfortunately, unintentionally, of course. But I remember one time specifically where me and my buddy came upon this nest area, and it was a big nest. It was widespread. So he threw down one of the 500 kilogram bombs, which is a huge explosion in itself. I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw down my 380 Mike. And so he throws his first, and while that's about to explode, I start typing in my code, and I get my code typed out, and it turns out I was standing a little close to the explosion of the 500, and it knocked my character off his feet. I got ragdolled, and I was holding the Pokeball for the 380 Mike, and unfortunately, when you get ragdolled holding a stratagem,
You drop it.
That stratagem will drop in place.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. so it just drops in that spot, and I yell at my buddy, I'm like, run! And he runs off, right? And again, with these 380 Mikes, you never know where it's going to land, because it's just a sequence of different explosions happening at different times. And the first one that drops right on his head. And it just blows him up. And he's like, really?
That's just poor timing.
Yeah, poor timing, poor position. And he's like, I got cover and everything. And it still just dropped straight on my head. Oh my god. But yeah, it's unfortunate things happen constantly, but you have these things called reinforcements where you start every level with so many reinforcements, which is pretty much revives, right? Where you throw it down and your buddies can drop again, and they can drop back wherever you put the beacon. And so they get out of their pod and they can continue the mission with you. But you only have so many. But once you reach 0, it does start a timer.
Replenishing.
But it only replenishes 1 at a time. And then the timer restarts again if you utilize that reinforcement. Which, I mean, it's a great way to still give people a chance, especially in that end game panic. Usually when you go into higher difficulties, you go to call in your evacuation, and out of nowhere, everything starts coming after you. One time we were doing an evacuation where we cleared out the whole map. We did all the objectives. We closed all the nests. We get back to evacuation. Everything seems very calm. We call in the evacuation, and as soon as the timer starts for the pickup to get there, all these things just pop into existence. All these breaches start coming up. A couple Bile Titans and a couple Chargers come out of nowhere, and they all just start coming after us. And it is just complete pandemonium. And you just have to try your best to survive until the evacuation gets there, and then you just gotta hurry your happy little ass on board to escape before everybody gets killed. I love that game, and I love the complete chaos of it. And I love that it doesn't do a PvP or anything.
Oh, absolutely.
I love that the environment is it's so much to deal with that there's no need for any other like game modes or anything. And it's always changing, always different enemies, always different maps, always different sequences of events. Every planet has a different environment in which to function on, whether it be desert or grasslands or forests. The game doesn't get old. I mean, I haven't gotten to that point yet where I feel like this game's gotten old.
You didn't even say like the replayability for changing up your play styles. Like if you want to go in and just do a spray and pray as a heavy armor wearer where you can kind of take more hits but just spread a bunch of bullets everywhere.
Exactly, yeah. All kinds of different builds. Yeah.
You could be the scout who runs around and finds like the medals and whatnot. So you wear the light armor so you can kind of really be mobile. And the armor, like the stuff that you were saying that you could spend medals on, how they have perks themselves, some of them. They're not all just cosmetic. There's the one that I use, where I get more stims, which would probably be good for somebody who plans on kind of being right in the middle of it. You could just constantly stim yourself.
Stims being, health, like a med pack of sorts. Man, I've tried so many different things. Oh, there's so many different play styles based on like what I unlock, just trying to try something new. At one point, just recently, I started playing with fire a bit too much, like napalm and flamethrowers.
I noticed that.
It hasn't gone that well in most cases. Like, I've stuck a little bit to the napalm stratagems because I like it. I like how good it is at clearing things out. But using a flamethrower, I swear, the amount of times I've killed myself using that damn flamethrower, it pisses me off so much. Because I'll just be going crazy and clearing out all these bugs, and then I accidentally set myself on fire, and I'm like, ah!
Hey,
I end up dying.
You know what they say. You play with fire, you get burned.
Well said. Well said.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on the Merle & Locke podcast. If you enjoyed this banter, please consider becoming a patron by going to patreon.com/Merle and Locke, or simply follow the link in the description. Thank you.